Hi, everybody. It's Shay, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me today. I just got home from work, and I really want to just kick it with you guys and explain to you where the heck have I been for the past year, and why am I just now coming back to post videos? What's been going on with me? What have I gotten into? Why did I gain weight? The topic of this video is going to be centered around how I found God for myself. And I understand that I may lose some subscribers talking about this. I may even get even less views than my channel is already getting. But I really wanted to reach out and explain what my situation is. And even if it reaches one person, then it's worth it. I was inspired to sit down in my living room, as you can see, and just kind of talk to you guys. And my cat's roaming around, so he may get in the middle of things. You may hear him scratching, meowing. So if you do, forgive me, but he is the boss of mine. So where have I been? And that's a very good question. I really didn't go anywhere physically per se, but I had an experience. And that experience was shortly before I posted this video. And when that video came out, you can clearly see that I was really going through something. In the past year, I've had a tremendous amount of personal growth, and a lot of that has to do with the spiritual growth that I personally went through. So as I had talked about briefly in my last video, I found God. I belong to a church, a non-denominational Christian church, and that has really encompassed a huge part of my life. And the people that are a part of this church, everything that I've been through, has helped me grow up a lot. That's kind of where we're at. So how I found God. During this time that I've been away through this journey of sobriety, I found myself being alone and independent for the very first time. So, and I'm sober. So there is nothing to block my thoughts, which is those negative thoughts. And I just spent a lot of time doing what I thought was talking to myself. And at the time, that's just kind of what it was. I was battling things in my own head. I was following the rational recovery program, identifying thoughts, trying to introduce new thoughts. And during that process, I discovered there is a God out there, and God will talk to you. And when God talks to you, he will blow your socks off. And I mean this in a spiritual sense. I don't mean that you can hear a literal voice in your head or somebody outside of yourself is talking to you. You have to kind of be very spiritually in tune. This is not a logical concept. For those that don't believe in God, I'll never be able to explain it to you with logic, because God is not a logical person. He is not a he's not a logical God. And the laws in which you want to fit him in doesn't work. There's so much about God that we don't understand. And so we can never truly explain him. And of course, I can never truly tell you or show you with facts that he is real. But I know that he is real. I know this from my own testimony. I know this from the testimony of others, watching other people's lives. And to me, God is a great God. He is good all the time. And it took a lot for me to see that he is doing good for me, even when I'm suffering, even when I'm going through something, which, in my church, we call it storms, when we're having a really hard time and we feel really disconnected, or the anxiety is really taken over, or depression is taken over, or every time you turn around, another door is getting shut in your face and you're just trying to take a step forward. But every time something gets in your way and you find yourself taking 3, 4, 5 steps back. Even during those times, I have learned God is good. God is so good, and he's right there with you. I remember the first time that I definitively knew This was God talking to me. Again, this is a spiritual sense, but I knew for a fact God was talking to me. He was putting wisdom inside of my spirit that I never would have come up with on my own. I was sitting alone in my apartment and I was battling against something, and I had this fleeting thought of gratitude. So I went looking on YouTube and I found some songs about gratitude. Out of nowhere, I was very much overwhelmed with the feeling of gratitude and the reasons why I had to be thankful and have gratitude for what I did currently have in my life at that time. And for me to have that much gratitude for, in logical sense, a lack of materialistic items in my house was unparalleled. It's like, I can't believe it right now in this moment, how much gratitude I had in that moment and how much gratitude I have for what I do have now, because God just keeps building. He just keeps giving me more and more, and he blesses me with more. That first time when I heard him speak about the gratitude that I was feeling, he was telling me, look how far you've come. You're not homeless anymore. You have an apartment and it's yours, and you don't have to depend on anybody else to pay the bills. You are finally self-sufficient. And isn't that what you've always wanted, my love? My child, look at the career that you have. Look at the support system that you finally have with your family. Isn't that what you've always wanted? Look what you have now, my child. My child, don't forget that you are surrounded by people who want nothing but the best for you. Don't forget, you don't wake up in the morning strung out. You don't wake up in the morning just trying to find how you're going to get your next fix. Look, my child, you have a refrigerator full of food. You have a cat that you adopted that loves you. I mean, just little simplistic things like that. He was reminding me, because in that moment, before I got to the overwhelming feeling of gratitude, I was feeling very low. I was feeling like, gosh, I am so far behind in life. I wasted so many years of my life on drug addiction. And although all of that is true, I know it wasn't my doing. It wasn't solely my doing that got me where I'm at today. God led me here. God is the chess player of the ultimate chess game that can lead you to the ultimate victory. And I know that definitively. I know that with every ounce of my being. And he shows me on a spiritual level almost every single day. Even after I established my personal relationship with God, there were still times I sat out on my balcony crying, or even in my apartment, just crying my eyes out, so angry with God, just yelling and screaming at him. Why, God? Why? Why, God? Why did this happen? Why is this happening? And I've learned that even through those times, even through the storms that I have been through in the past year, it was all for my own good. I just didn't know it at that moment. But God will, especially if you ask him, by his grace, will move things out of your way. Even if you want them, if they're not good for you, he will move them out of your way to make room for what he wants to put in your life, which is better than what you could want in the moment. Now, I'm not perfect. I still make mistakes. I still fall. I still am a human being. I am fallible. I fail on a daily basis. As the Christians say, I sin every single day. I don't always read my Bible. In fact, I'm terrible at it. I don't always go to church. Sometimes I get into these little spots in my life where I don't want to go to church and I go off and do other things. My church had me be in charge of a women's ministry. So young in my faith, and that to be a leader of a women's ministry and a church was a lot for me to handle. And there were a few months there where I really didn't want to do it, and I kind of backed out. But God put that ministry in my life. It wasn't just my church. It wasn't just my bishop. It was God who put that ministry in. So even though I was trying to cower and hide away from it, God's like, no, I gave that to you, and you are going to be responsible for that. I'm just forever thankful for all the lessons that God has given me, for this channel, for the house, for the career, for my health. So speaking about health, anybody can see from looking between my older videos a year ago and to now, I have gained some weight. I have residual health effects from my 22 years of drug addiction. And I keep praying on this, but God hasn't seen fit to take this away from me yet. And I'm sure there's a lesson there. And maybe one day, hallelujah, he will, but he hasn't yet. So I suffer. The last time that I posted a video about my being off a methadone update, that video's up here, I was going to the gym on a very regular basis. Unfortunately, it got to the point where I just can't. My legs just won't allow me to do it. I can't walk for long periods of time, which is very frustrating. I try to go on a family vacation, try to do the Disney thing. I'm on a scooter like I'm a 60-year-old woman because after an hour of walking, my feet and legs are swollen. This is just the path that I have to take. And this is the consequence of past decisions, of the past. I made bad decisions by using drugs. And yes, by the grace of God, he got me out of it. But I still have to pay the consequences. There's consequences for every choice that you make in life, whether it's a good consequence or a bad consequence, which is why I try to encourage every last one of you. Let's do the right thing, no matter how hard it is. And I know it's so easy to want to just fall into temptation and do what's not right for us, to do what's bad, to pick up that substance or to pick up the alcohol, to get rid of the bad feeling that you're currently experiencing. I know that all too well. I did that for 22 years. But in almost 6 years, October will be 6 years, of pushing aside that feeling and pushing aside that want and doing what it is that I'm supposed to do, the right thing to do, to live in that feeling, to figure out how to handle it without being intoxicated, handle those feelings sober. My life has changed tremendously, and it continues to change so much. Good things keep flowing into my life. And I know for a fact that if I keep doing what I'm doing, even better things are going to keep coming. My goodness, I'm really, really enthusiastic for the future. What else does God have planned for my life? I look at what he's done for me in such a short period of time. It's tremendous. I wish I could find the words to express to every last one of you watching this video how much of an impact that my relationship with God has significantly increased and bettered my life. That's my little rant. I appreciate you guys joining me today on my couch in my living room. I really thought my cat was gonna make a visit on the screen, but I guess he got busy doing something else. Who knows? Oh, and don't forget, my Twitter DMs are open. This is my Twitter handle here. So if you need to get a hold of me or if you have some questions, feel free to hit me up on my DMs. But don't forget, guys, words are powerful, but your actions are penetrating. Be the change in the world that you want to see, and I hope to see you on my next video.